that would lobby against single motherhood. In I think in about 4 different countries, single motherhood is actually against the law. If we make single motherhood against the law, see, I understand what you're saying, Cloud Jones, but there's something called Title 4D that makes the government billions of dollars per year, right? And that is the child support. The way that is all put together. But that ain't going to go nowhere. But if we could turn around and make single motherhood illegal, where if a woman has a fatherless baby, that child instantly gets taken away from the mother and goes into the foster care system. Now it would force women, because the foster care system makes money too. So it would still make them money, but it would take the child away from the mother. Now women would be like, yo, I don't want my child taken away from me. But the company, the government, which is a company, the United States of America is a business, they still will make money because it's still gonna be stupid ass women still doing it. So the more children, newborn babies going into the foster care system will actually help the government. And next thing you know, they will still get their money and we'll stop these dumbass women from having babies.
Well, how does that work out for the?
All right, so look, real quick.
We get Trav in there.
All right, Trav. So with the Roe v. Wade situation, right? It wasn't entirely overturned. They left it up to the states. So in my opinion, it's a way bigger picture than a lot of people look at it, because the red states can't delete their babies while the blue states still could. And if you ask me, that's by design. We're going to leave that alone, right? But Clout Jones is definitely on one when we're talking about changing the politics, right? And one of the stupidest things that we do is we wrap ourselves up into the Democratic Party for years, right? For years. That's just all we do. And what we have to understand is that Democrats are not going to help us because they know they got our vote. And Republicans are not going to help us because they know they don't have our vote. So guess what? The people, if you pay attention to elections and you look at the states that they go pay attention to the most, are the swing states, right? The people whose vote that they don't know they have. So in all reality, I'm not saying go red, go blue. I'm saying go nothing, right? And say, all right, well, who's going to bring something to us? Who is going to bring something to the table for us? And then we will see what type of policies we can change that will benefit us directly, because other groups go to the table with policies that they have that they want passed and they get it done, or you won't have their vote.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm just trying to shut the mic a little bit. Lady Di, you got something on that?
I was going to say, to Clout's point, I agree with changing the policies, but at the end of the day, like right now, even if you change the policy, the mindset's still the same. So they're going to find other ways to do whatever it is that they want to do. So it's not going to change right now. Now, I think maybe 20 years from now, you have these policies that you're saying, yes, they would change. And for the new upbringing, right, the kids that we have right now and the kids in the future, they can, look at these policies and be like, okay, well, if I do this, this is the result of it, or this is the consequence. I think for the future, that's great, but it's not going to change right now. It's not going to do a damn thing. People are very creative and they will find different ways to achieve any type of toxic behavior because it's just your mind. And like I said, it goes right back to parenting. So that's another way to change policies and parenting. You got to raise kids properly. Don't just be having kids because you want to dress them up, or you want to, oh, I have a son and wow, look at this. I'm gonna raise a strong man. You can't raise a strong man without the dad. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the mind is just weird. So you got to make sure that you are stable-minded and understand what a family dynamic is supposed to look like. It is very natural for the mother biological, father biological to raise their kids. It's unnatural when it's separated. This is just what happens in society, but it's unnatural. So we got to try to make sure that our children know to kind of, pick right, vet better, that type of stuff. Because it is true. You have to do that regardless. Even when you pick your job, you have to make sure you like the job, you like the benefits. Can you see yourself here long enough? Are you a business owner? Do you want to make sure you have a business in this state or that state? You have to look at everything. So it is vetting in all type of areas. But you have to make sure that all of these things are in place So when you are raising these kids, they know how to have a better life than, let's say, we had.
All right, I'm gonna go to Precious and then Fantasy, and then Casey. I got you. Let me just circle them.
Short and sweet. I think that as long as there's mothers and as long as there's fathers, there's going to be mommy and daddy issues. Period. I think that we have to be honest with ourselves, be real with ourselves a lot sooner. I think that we get stuck in cycles where we feel like we don't know what's going on, but we do. We just don't want to take the time to get back down to ground level and figure out how to fix us, not the people around us, but us as people. And I think that, not a lot of people do that inner work. They'll go and buy the kids all these clothes, shoes that are crazy expensive, haircuts, hair done every 2 weeks, where you're still the same parent. Time has gone on, you haven't changed yourself. So I think as parents, and you get away from community when you don't know who you are either. And so then the community turns on each other because everybody's bleeding on people that didn't cut them. So we have to get to a place where we're honest about our own healing and stop worrying about our neighbor. we got to sweep around our own front door before we try to sweep around somebody else's, right? That's how the song goes. So I think we have to really be honest with that. Stop worrying about other people and worry about yourself, but come out of those cycles a lot sooner, because women will have baby after baby after baby and then have all these complaints about men, or all these complaints about their family, or all these complaints about everybody else except for themselves. And they done slept and opened their legs 4 or 5 times. You can't blame anybody else, not even the man. You can only blame yourself for your idiotic cycles. And so the longer that people go through with these cycles, the longer you're going to continue to bleed on people that didn't cut you. So worry about yourself, heal yourself, do the groundwork first. Do that first, because changing policies and things like that, that's going to affect a lot of people. But is it really? I think Lady Di said it. People are going to find loopholes. They're going to find ways to get out of it. So you really gotta, you really have to worry about yourself.
All right,
I just want to add one thing. Like, why is it that when we talk about changing the political system, we always say, "Oh, people gonna find loopholes," right? But then when we look at like the other ethnic groups of people who changed the system we live in under now is because groups of people have been consciously implementing changes over time. Even if you look at the LGBT community, they've been consciously infiltrating society to make their agenda come to fruition. And they're only like 5% of the population and have been able to have a huge impact. So how can we sit here and talk about, oh, people are going to figure out what they want? We're literally living in, all right, I'm going to give you an example. I do a program with colleges, right? The program that I do with these colleges, we have to teach these students about respecting pronouns and things like that. So you got to look at this, right? Transgender people are not even 10% of the population and have so much impact that schools are now requiring their students to learn about gender identity politics. But here we are saying, oh, people are going to come up with loopholes. No, incentives work. Incentives work. If you create,
gotta get it.
Casey goes next.
Accurately predict and influence human behavior. That's what economics is all about. Human behaviors. All we have to do is study, figure out what the right incentives are, and implement policies that will incentivize the change that we want. This is how marketing works. They know exactly how to write a hook and how to incentivize you to buy a product. That's all it is. It just takes time and effort. And we keep making excuses and saying, oh, people are going to do what they want. Of course, some people will. But once you implement something with a certain level of efficiency, they'll have no choice. It's like what Mr. Letgo was saying, right? If it was illegal to be a single mom, you really think women are going to keep being single moms? Absolutely not. It doesn't make sense. And guess what? If there was a system where the foster care took their children, those children would no longer be forced to grow up with single moms because they'd be in a foster home with 2 parents.